All right. Welcome, Cyber Insecurity live stream members and family. It is time. We are here with Cutting into Cybersecurity, CISSP edition. With me is our fantastic, business knowledgeable mastermind, Brandon Krieger. How are you this evening?
I'm great, Joel. How are you doing?
I'm doing better now. I literally sit on the phone with you for 10 minutes and I like map out a whole new business plan. I'm like, it's amazing. And you go, give me a second. Well, first of all, no, you said, if I can give you a better name for that, can I have 10% of your revenue? That's what he asked me. I go, whoa. Okay, let's see what you got first. And he literally gave me a new name, and that's the new name of the project. So awesome. I can't thank you enough for all you do.
Anytime. It was funny, and give people some context here. Joel's working on a new project that's going to be coming soon. We're sitting there, we're kind of talking about it, offline, and he's telling me about this name he's come up with. I'm like, okay, but what does that mean? But it means this, and I'm like, but it doesn't make sense. Like I don't get it. Hold on, Joel. Hold on. Let me look this up. So I take my old marketing hat, put it on, say, okay, let me kind of look up this name for him. I come up with another name, and I'm like, how is this? He's like, oh my God, it says everything in the name. It just says it. I'm like, there you go. Right. Well, and then of course I negotiated my business hat and he said, well, if I could give you a name.
But guys, I don't think you understand. Me and my other business partner, like we spent hours looking for names, and like I don't know if you guys know this, but like anything with the word cyber in it costs thousands of dollars just to own the domain. This one domain that Brandon picked did not cost thousands of dollars. So anyways, thank you again, sir, for your business acumen. Back to our audience real quick, because I saw some really interesting stuff in the chat that I need to address. And first of all, we have an audience member here with us who just this week, within the last 7 days, took the CISSP exam and passed it. Brandon, can you give me one good guess who that is?
Oh, Vivek, of course.
Vivek in the house. Congratulations to our newest CISSP member. That is what this is all about, is taking you guys to the next level in your cybersecurity career.
But hold on. Let's tell a little bit about the story. Deal. So Vivek sends me a message over the weekend. Hey, I'm gonna take the exam. I'm ready for it. So I'm like, good. Congratulations. You're gonna do really well. He sends me a message saying, I didn't get the whole 150 questions. So I'm thinking, oh my God, dude, I'm so sorry, right? I'm really sorry, like you didn't get it, trying to think, okay, so what else do we have to cover through the week? The guy's putting me through like emotional stress for him. I only got like 120 and I passed. I'm like, oh my God, Vivek, that's awesome. I'm like, damn you, Vic, but that's awesome, right? But again, the great thing is that, being here, collaborating with him, seeing him, evolve each time he was, practicing and testing and doing that. That's our passion. That's to see that is that, Sean Delaney, you've got Vivek now, all these guys that are going through and passing. It's awesome. It's awesome to see you guys succeed. And now for me is what's next for you guys? What are you guys going to do with that? How are you going to apply it to your work, what you're doing day to day, your career? I'm really excited to help you guys and evolve in your careers. So thank you so much for letting us be part of that journey.
Yeah, but I want to tell you guys a little bit more about Vivek and his journey. So this was not the first time he took it. He's taken it before, and when he didn't pass, he told me, he goes, look, this is just part of my journey. There was something that I was supposed to learn in this content that I didn't know yet, and that's why I didn't pass. Like, his mentality around it was just so on point, and he didn't let him get it down. Now, guys, before he went into the exam, we did a little 101 pop quiz session where I went through all of the terminology in the CISSP book, and guys, I could not stump this guy. And I'm not saying like he had time to type it in Google. Like, I'm like, what is this? What is this? What is this? And he was rattling it off from memory. And he was relating it to things in his life or things he's experienced. It was truly incredible. And I think IT-Sec Cyclist here in the chat, guys, he said, when you prepare properly, the test is easy. And I think you nailed it on the head. So I'm going to give a shout out to a couple more folks. BSEC 676 said he booked his, and he's going to be having his nose in a book for the next month. Brandon, you have yours in 2 months.
May 30th.
And then I actually spoke with Durs. I believe he's on, and I hope I pronounced your name right, but his handle is, snap. Where is it? Come on. Sorry, I'm linked in. It is Nitronic Deer. So Nitronic Deer, if you're on, he's also looking to take it. So guys, if you ever wanted to take your CISSP exam and you've been on the fence, get online and book it in 60 days. That's my recommendation for you. If you want to be more prepared than you've ever been before, book it in 60 days. Join us. That will be 8 sessions, 8, 2, 4, 6, 8 times 2, 16 sessions with us. Plus, we're going to be doing one-on-one prep quizzes with anybody who's taking it before your exam. And we're going to jump and do these questions as we go. Cool?
Right. Plus, don't forget, like, actually, I actually have the app here. CISSP Genius is an application that you can download on your iPhone, right? That you can actually do practice tests throughout the day as you're going through. It has flashcards, mock tests, right? And very clear, because we had this concern before. This is not a brain dumping application. It's just to get you in the cadence of getting used to taking the questions, getting used to doing like the topics, going through, reducing down to 2, what are the 2 best answers, and then seeing how to answer them. This is not, and I want to be very clear, it's not for you guys to go on and memorize 125, questions and answers and then go try to take the test, right? That's not Joel and I's motive here. We want you to be able to know it, understand it, and be able to apply it.
Absolutely. No, and yeah, so let's go ahead and jump into the content, guys, because we have another $25 gift card being awarded today to the one who can answer this one of our questions the quickest. Now, we're going to do 5 prep questions, and then I actually have a question that I'm just going to give to you verbally, and I want to see who can answer it in the chat first. That person will be the winner of our $25 gift card. Also, I want to know who IT Cyclist is now. He says he's one of my IronNet brothers. The only guy I know who's a heavy-duty bicycler at IronNet, maybe not the only one, but Matt Ryan. So that's my guess. But if not, you got to tell me in the chat. So, Brandon, you ready for these questions?
One more thing. I was actually in the Discord channel today.
Okay.
A lot of guys were saying that like some of the motivational things that we've been talking about too has actually been helping them. One thing that I was talking about to you guys, I think it was in Daily Cyber as well. We did a little bit in the Cyber Insecurity or Incision, was that make sure you look after yourself first. As you're going through the days, you're going through like the pandemic, get up, exercise, hydrate, kind of really look after you, study in the morning, really kind of get, your stuff done first, and then go throughout your day. Cause that's the best time to do it. Cause as we all know, at the end of the night, you get tired, you get fatigued, you got family, you got things you're doing, projects that run late. And then all of a sudden what happens is you don't do it. And then you don't do it the next day. So if you can plan your stuff first, working out, energy, getting your exercise in, get your studying going, and it only takes, it's something I'm avidly reading about, is how to study now, how to really kind of to master your mind. You only need to study 20 minutes a day. 20 minutes a day. If you chunk it, that's all you need to study. And then it's just what they call the Feynman technique, is you review it an hour after, a day after, a week after, and 3 weeks after. By that time, you should have memorized that information, and then you just keep moving. Just keep moving, keep moving.
So let's jump in.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. All right, guys. And also Cyclist is also Peter Franklin, one of the newest of the IronNet family. And we threw him right to the weeds, man. I mean, I'm telling you, like, he did not have, it was like, hey, you got 2 weeks ramp up time. And then are you ready to go in front of clients? Like, he's like, wait a second, really? We're like, okay, well, we're kind of teasing, but like, yeah, it's coming.
We're teasing, but we're not.
Yeah, exactly. So, all right, guys, here we go. So let's go ahead, guys, jump right in. The first question is, while using IPsec, the ESP and AH protocols, and let's real quick touch on those. ESP is encapsulating security protocol, and the AH protocol is the authentication header protocol. They both provide integrity services. However, when using the authentication header, some special attention needs to be paid if one of the peers uses NAT, or network address translation, for address translation service. Which of the items below would affect the use of AH and its integrity check value the most? A, the key session exchange. B, packet header source and destination address. C, VPN cryptography size. Or D, cryptographic algorithm used. Brandon, you want to take this one, or you want me to take it?
See, I'm going through it, and I'm going to get you to kind of talk about, but I'm narrowing this down right now, and I'm thinking key session exchange. I don't think it affects it. Cryptography algorithm used. VPN, I'm almost sure it doesn't. So I'm narrowing it down to B and D as the ones I would start to kind of question and narrow down to the answer. What would you go with?
Yeah, so I love the answers in the chat. I'm watching. We got a bunch of people with the right answer already. And guys, this is your chance to just practice, right? So throw out the answer that you think it is, and then let's learn from it moving forward. So I know authentication headers. What they're doing is they're dealing with the network headers, right? That's not VPN cryptographic key size. That's not cryptographic algorithms. That's not key session exchanges. So it's got to be the packet header source and destination address. Now, I also know that when you use NAT, it's focusing on that packet header source and destination address. So let's jump in and let's dig into this. So the answer is B. So round of applause to everybody who got B. Looks like we got BSEC, Cyber Sentinel, Vivek, Sean, Syed. Great job, guys. Now this says, okay, real quick. Yes, AH provides authentication and integrity. An ESP can provide those two functions and confidentiality. So why even bother with the AH then? Well, in most cases, the reason has to do with whether the environment is using NAT or not. IPsec will generate an integrity check value, or that ICV, which is really the same thing as a MAC value, over a portion of the packet. So remember that the sender and receiver generate their own integrity values. An IPsec, it is called an ICV value, right? So let me jump down here real quick, because that's not the important part. Okay, here we go. The authentication header protocol calculates the ICV over the data payload, the transport, and here's the kicker, the network headers. So if the packet goes through the NAT device and then the NAT device changes the IP address, guess what's going to happen? Well,
this is the portion of the header, right?
The portion that was calculated for the ICV is now changed. The receiver will then generate a different ICV value, and it's going to drop the packet, right? So the packet will be discarded. Now, the ESP protocol follows similar steps, except it doesn't include the network header in that portion of the ICV value. So when the NAT changes the IP address, it doesn't impact it at all. So hopefully that helps, guys. That was a really long explanation, but remember, authentication headers, they're finding an ICV value from the network headers, which include IP address. Did that make any sense at all, Brandon, or was I just rambling?
No, it made sense.
Okay, cool. Looks like we already got an answer for this. Vivek is ripping and rolling. Which of the following protocols offers native encryption? So I'm going to let you walk through this. Yeah, go ahead and walk through this for me, Brandon.
IPsec, SSH, PBTP, SSL, MPLS, LTF, L2F, and L2TP. I don't think those are native encryptions.
Yeah, right.
A and D are not. There's a few of them that are not native, right? Encryption, right? So then you're going with B and C: IPsec, SSH, SSL, TLS. I'm going with C because those ones seem very native, right? Ones that are just, you hear in a lot of the protocols, a lot of you're using. So I'm gonna go with C because I'm looking at this TFTP. I don't think that's a native.
TFTP is Trivial File Transfer Protocol.
Yeah.
And it is a simple protocol, which basically puts a file from one host onto a remote host, and it is not using native encryption. So the answer is, Brandon, you're 100% right. The protocols that offer native encryption are these four, and it looks like just about everybody in there. Yeah, so Sean said, hey, pull MPLS and TFTP. TFTP has no encryption. And so that's the key on this, guys, is you're going to be able to narrow it down to two. And then you'll be able to find one characteristic that you'll be able to dig into. And you're like, okay, which one provides native encryption? And from there, you'll be set. All right. Great job, everybody. Awesome. Let's go ahead and do two more. And then I've got a special one for our question tonight. All right, let's go ahead and move on. You guys are doing awesome. Which of the following is not a disadvantage of symmetric cryptography when compared with asymmetric ciphers? So what, and these not ones, man, they get you. Not a disadvantage of symmetric. Remember, symmetric, the keys are similar or the same. Asymmetric is your private public, and those keys are different. So which one is not a disadvantage of symmetric? A, provides limited security service. B, has no built-in key distribution. C, speed. Or D, large number of keys are needed. Brandon?
So it's funny. I actually just had this conversation last week and this week about asymmetric encryption and I think it's which one with this E? Bisymmetric encryption. And I know this just by the look of it, but provides limited security services, has no built-in key distribution, and large numbers of keys is an advantage. So the one that you're looking at right now is speed. Speed is not a disadvantage, right? And I'm going to go with C with that, because you want it to have speed. You want it to be fast.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. But remember, large number of keys are needed for symmetric. It has no built-in key distribution and provides limited security services. So those would all be disadvantages, which means if you don't want a disadvantage, you're looking for the advantage, and that is speed. Great job, Brandon. And great job, everybody else. You got Vivek just ripping out of the gates. BSEC, Bombadil, Chris, or Chris Bick. Great job, Syed. You guys are all awesome. You guys are crushing it. Looks like David Greer is in the house. Bugman is here. You guys are doing a great job. So let's go ahead. We got two more of these, and then we got our $25 gift certificate question coming right up. So which of the following is more suitable for hardware implementation? Stream ciphers, block ciphers, cipher block chaining, or electronic code book? Brandon?
So I'm looking through this. We actually didn't we just talk about electronic code book?
Yep.
I think we actually talked about that. So
cipher block chaining.
Yeah. So we just talked about that. So I would say D, C, cipher block chaining. No, I'm going with A and B as I'm narrowing it down. I think it's stream cipher. I think it is stream cipher. Hardware implementation. Which of the following is more suitable for? I think it's streaming cipher.
So remember, guys, when we're talking about these, when they talk about hardware implementation, it's comparing it against software implementations. Okay. And when you're talking hardware implementations, that means it's going to require a lot more processing power, typically when they ask questions like this. So if it's asking for what is more suitable for a hardware implementation, when you're looking between stream and block ciphers, yeah, you're looking for the one that's going to take more processing power. And Brandon is right. It is A, stream ciphers, because they require a lot of randomness and encrypt individual bits at a time in a streaming fashion. It requires more processing power, and that's why they're more suited for hardware level implementation. So who got this one right? This was a tough one. Looks like we got some C, we got some D. But yeah, so guys, these types, and let's see if they give us an example. So looks like a lot of people answered other ones, but it says cipher block chaining is a block encryption method where each block of text, the key, and the value based on the previous block are processed in the algorithm and then applied to the next block of text. It's not more suitable for hardware implementation. And then D, electronic codebook is a block encryption method. It is not more suitable for hardware, right? So it's something that can be implemented on software. So you're looking for the one that kind of sticks out, and that's going to be stream ciphers. All right, easy. You guys know what I'm saying. How many
easy question?
Yeah. How many
easy question? Softball question?
Softball question. Thank you, Brandon.
That's why we're a good team.
Yeah, we are. Thank you. Stumbling all over my words today. All right. I'm waiting. Hold on. Am I not scrolling down to the bottom of the chat? Where am I at? Oh, come on. You guys are faster than that. Come on. How many rounds are used in DES, guys? Let's go. Oh, by the way, guys, when you take your CISSP, you don't get to go back and check your answers. So take your time. Even if I rush you here, that's just because Neil only gives us an hour and 15 minutes. But on the test.
Don't blame Neil.
But take your time, okay? Take your time on the test. All right, looks like you guys all said A. You guys are 100% correct. Vivek, that's not a wild guess. Get out of here, man. So remember, DES uses a 64-bit key. 8 bits of those are used for parity, which means 56 bits make up the true key. DES divides it into blocks, which are then put through 16 rounds of transposition and substitution. So the correct answer for DES, 16 rounds. Fantastic. Next up.
Before we go, because this is the last question. This is the Moneyball question,
nope,
right?
Not the Moneyball question. That's question 6 today.
Okay. So I think we got one comment. I don't agree with the answer having implementing a hardware level accelerated for things like Red Solomon. So I think he's talking about that previous question. when you're talking about stream cipher.
Interesting. Yeah, it should have been reworded differently, but I've also seen questions like this in the past when we've been studying for this. Is they use that terminology. So let's go back real quick, because they do use this. It is more suitable was the question, right? The following is more suitable for hardware implementation. And guys, I'm telling you, on my CISSP exam, they used more suitable. They used least likely. They used the best option. I mean, they use all these things. So you got to really pay attention to the wording there. But yeah, you're right. I mean, it is kind of a tricky one on that. So let's head back down, wrap this up. I want to give away some money today. Also, let's go ahead and jump in. What is the key size of the International Data Encryption Algorithm IDEA? What is the key size? A, 64 bits, B, 128 bits, C, 160, or D, 192 bits? Brandon?
I think it's 128 bits, because it can't be, it's not 160 or 192. So you're going between A and B. I'm going to go with B, 128.
Yeah, 100%. It is, IDEA is a block cipher that operates on 64-bit blocks of data. It's divided into 16 smaller blocks with 8 rounds of mathematical functions performed on each to produce a key that is 128 bits long. So great job. Yeah, and Vivek said DES is 64 bits and it's not good, which is why they then created triple DES, right? So excellent, excellent add-on. All right, guys. That is it for our prep questions. Here is the one. And this is, yeah, go ahead.
Nat Fraser, are you ready for this? Because I know you're moderating for us right now and you're bombarded by these, and you have to find out who's the winner. Right?
I'm supposed to be on Discord, huh?
Right. So don't worry, I'm on there for us.
I don't even think I told you the question.
No, you didn't tell me the question. You can put in the chat.
Oh yeah. Okay. Word. Okay. It is. Here we go. Type this to you.
That's how secret this question is. It's real time right now,
guys. And I'm trying to tailor it around the content we're going to cover today. So here is the question. Are you ready?
You didn't send it to me yet.
I sent it in the chat and restream. All right, guys. Here we go. The winner of this question. It is not an A, B, C, or D question. I saw somebody trying to pull that earlier. Anyways. Here we go. A circuit level firewall operates on what layer of the OSI model?
So how many people remember the OSI model?
Remember, 7 layers, circuit level firewall. And I want the name of the layer. Not layer 5, not layer 7. Give me the name of the layer. All right, we got some physicals. We've got some layers 7, 3, 2, 3, 1, 7, 1. Here we go. Physical, session, physical, and shoot. Layer 5 session, data link. Awesome job, Brandon and Fraser. I'm going to let you guys figure out who got that right. The correct answer is it operates at the session layer. So a circuit level firewall operates at the session layer. And I don't know if I can give that one to you, Vivek, because we actually covered that in your one-on-one prep session. But let's go ahead and jump in. We'll talk about that here in a minute. I owe you B-dubs for passing your CISSP anyways, so I may give you a gift card and somebody else. But let's go ahead and jump into this real quick, guys. So let's talk about a circuit level gateway and why you would use it. So a circuit level gateway is a firewall that provides UDP and TCP connection security. It works between an open system interconnection or OSI network model. It operates between the transport and application layers, such as the session layer. Unlike application gateways, these circuit level gateways monitor TCP packet data handshaking and session fulfillment of firewall rules and policies. So here's the reality. Basically, a circuit level gateway verifies TCP handshakes to check incoming traffic without consuming a lot of time and resources. So AKA, when you're looking at circuit level gateways, resource impact is minimal. It's wicked fast, right? And all it does is your TCP handshake check, right? So here we go. Let's take a peek at a couple of the others, though, just so you have this in context. One that takes a little bit more resources, the application level firewall, right? It's doing IP and address checks, handshake checks, deep layer inspection, and virtualized connections. That's going to be a moderate impact. You got stateful inspection firewalls. Yep, you're doing 2 of the 4 checks. Circuit level is 1, and then your packet filtering is 1 as well. So hopefully that gives a little context. It looks like I got Vivek and ITsec Cyclist, who is Peter. So you guys both got gift cards coming your way. Please shoot Frazier a message, whether you guys want a Buffalo Wild Wings gift card or an Amazon gift card, and I will be getting each of those to you. Vivek, yours is really for passing the CISSP this week. I just want to celebrate it B-dubs with you. Well, at least my money will. So congratulations. All right. Did you guys have some fun? Was that fun? Did everybody have a good time doing that?
So let's ask before we jump into this, how many people remember the OSI model? How many people remember it? Like just put yes or no in the actual chat. How many people actually remember it right now? Because that's what we're going to be covering today in today's session. Now, don't get me wrong. If you guys have any questions, hit Net Fraser up, ask, as much questions as you can. But what we want to do is we're going to go through the OSI model today in the 7 layers and make sure you guys have that down. If you are going for the test at the CISSP, or just to remind you because you haven't touched it in a while.
There you go. All right. So I do want to show you. So let's jump right in, guys. Yeah, exactly. So Shaquille Oatmeal 5 said, please do not throw the sausage pizza away. I have a little embarrassing story for you guys. And Peter, you're not allowed to repeat this ever at IronNet, but in my interview to be a threat hunter at IronNet, and I was actually applying for the red team and they offered me the threat hunter role, but they asked me what the layers of the OSI model were. And this was after I had to draw a network diagram. I had to explain how DNS worked. I had to explain where I would put all my security tools on the enterprise network, a bunch of other technical questions. And then they asked me what the OSI layer was, or layers were. And I just had a brain fart. I knew you're not supposed to throw the sausage pizza away, but I could not remember that sentence to save my life. I probably turned beet red. I was so embarrassed. I thought I literally failed the interview because I couldn't remember OSI layers. And they ended up giving me the role. So I'm very thankful. Be forgiving to your interviewees, even if they cannot remember this. Unfortunately, the CISSP exam will not be forgiving.
Right.
So let's go ahead and go ahead, Brandon.
How can we help you remember that?
Oh, I don't forget it anymore. I ingrained this thing into my memory. You would not believe it. And here's how I did it. It's called mnemonics. So let me go ahead and share a couple with you, and then I'm going to share with you one of my favorite ones that I found. So, guys, you have the 7 layers here in the middle, right? And it looks like mostly everybody, or at least a lot of the people who are answering the question, have a pretty good grasp on it. But let's walk through these. And starting with the physical layer, you have to remember which direction these mnemonics go. They could start from the bottom up, or they could go from the top down. So let's start with the bottom up. Please do not throw away the sausage pizza away. You have physical, data link, network, transport, session, presentation, application. It's the first letter of each of those words, right? So please for physical, D for data, do for data link, not for network, throw for transport, sausage for session, pizza for presentation, away for application. And I promise you we're going to go over these. We're going to actually go over them in pretty heavy detail this session and on Thursday to make sure you know the protocols, because man, they get into the protocols running on each one. I mean, you got to know them pretty well. So we're going to be spending a little bit of time on these this week and next. Next one is please do not touch Steve's pet alligator.
Nice.
So once again, guys, you just have to find one that works for you, and you have to remember it goes up or down. That's it. Pick one. If you know a guy named Steve who has an alligator, that one may be for you. But let's try the ones going down real quick. Brandon, read the one going down, the third one for me.
So all people seem to need data processing.
Yeah, that's the one I use personally. All people seem to need data processing. We do advanced data analytics, so it just works, and it stuck for me ever since. The next one is all people standing totally naked don't perspire.
Nice.
So if you need a funny one, there you go. And then it was funny. The one that I found after this that may help was this one. And I'm still laughing at it. So here, let me share it with you guys. All right. All presidents since Truman never did pot. I'm pretty sure that's a false statement, but depending on what you're good at remembering, this may never leave your mind. So remember, application, presentation, session, transport, network, data link, and Brandon? What's the bottom one?
Physical.
There you go. Cool.
So hold on. So I got a little trick for you guys. First and foremost, which one of those ones, does resonate for you guys? I got an actual technique. And I want you guys to remember it's a 3-step thing. It's called PI, right? It's, place, imagine, and then entwine, right? So if you can do that with these mnemonic devices, you'll remember it more. So if you kind of think of a place where you saw all present since Truman never did pot, imagine you're on, you're in the White House, you're sitting there, you're with the president, whichever one you resonate with, and they're sitting there, they're telling you the story. And it's kind of this funny moment, and you're going, oh my God, you can see the carpet, you can see all that. And they go, you know what? All presidents since Truman never did pot. You will never forget it because it'll be the funniest situation. So what happens is with your memory, if you can have a place, you can imagine it, and you can entwine both them, it's something that you'll remember. So pick the one that most resonates for you and tell yourself the most elaborate story around it. You'll never forget. You'll even laugh.
You really will. And so when you go to interview and somebody asks you what the OSI layer metals are, you'll be like, please do not throw away sausage pizza. They'll know exactly what you're talking about. And you can just move on, right, without even writing them down. So it looks like people like the pizza one. I'm a huge pizza fan as well, but it let me down big time in my interview, and I'll never forgive it. So now all people seem to need data processing is my go-to. So, all right, guys, but we got to jump into this thing. So now remember, guys, the OSI model, it wasn't the first or only attempt to kind of streamline networking protocols and establish like a common communication standard, right? But Brandon, what does it kind of stand for?
Wasn't it open source intelligence? Isn't that?
Yeah, but like it's an abstract framework, right?
Open system interconnection. I'm actually reading it now, but yeah, there's so many acronyms.
No, you're good. It's a theoretical model, right? So it's not like a firm, like this is where but it's an abstract framework to show how protocols should function in an ideal world and on ideal hardware, right? So the OSI models really become a common reference point, which all protocols can basically, hopefully, fall into. It's not perfect, but it's what people use, and it's kind of the de facto these days.
Yeah, it's just a framework, right?
Yep. So kind of like a layered cake. I like that. But yeah, let's talk about OSI functionality real quick. So the OSI model divides networking tasks into these 7 layers that we talked about, and each layer is responsible for performing specific tasks. And basically, the ultimate goal is like supporting the data transfer between 2 computers. So let's talk about how it does that real quick. And guys, I'm all about my pictures, so let me pull up a new one for you real quick.
Yeah, but while you're doing that, we got one question.
Okay.
When it comes to the cloud, does the OSI layer vary in the communication stream?
Yes and no. This OSI model is not a perfect model, but fundamentally, it is able to place most of the protocols into one of these 7 layers. So I didn't really answer your question, but I tried to. And I can go into more detail, but basically, I've even seen people say, "Hey, look, the OSI model, it's wrong." I didn't say that; they did. But it's not a perfect model. It's not a perfect model. It's just one of the better ones to help visualize and help us understand the different communications between devices on a network. So let's go ahead and jump right in.
Yep.
All righty, here we go. Perfect. So real quick, I know the text is small on this guy, but we're talking about application. This is your end user layer, right? This is where it's being presented to the end user. Think HTTP, file transfer protocol, DNS and SSH. That's what lives on the application layer, right? When we drop into presentation, it's SSL, SSH, IMAP, FTP, MPEG, JPEGs, right? But look at this. You're going to notice something. SSH is on both application and presentation. Why? Because they're both kind of that data layer. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to show you how that encapsulation works and why that is impacted the way it is. Because I think somebody said it in here, 5 through 7 are kind of 5 and 6 are kind of the lost boys of the crew, right? The other ones are very much, they're the layers of the cake that never change. 5, 6, and 7, they're kind of ignored a little bit, right? Not 7 as much, but we'll talk about that here in a bit. Moving down, though, you have sessions. So this is really sync and send to different ports. You have APIs, you have sockets. So if you've done any programming with web sockets, this is where you're interacting with. Then transport, end-to-end communications, TCP, UDP. And then you have network. This is where your packets, right? And then when you're mapping basically network, data link, and physical, this is where your hardware comes into play. Okay, so these are very much your hardware layers. And once again, we're going to dig into more of this on Thursday, but this is a very much high-level overview. Next, data link, this is where your frames exist. So a lot of the time, you're going to be like, the questions are going to be something like, on which layer of the OSI model are packets handled or are frames handled? And you need to be able to answer those questions like that. Next is physical. This is your physical structure. Coax, fiber, wireless. This is the actual hub that's transporting the data itself. So hopefully that picture helps. We're going to continue to dig into it. But Brandon, do we have any questions?
Looking at here. No, I think that was it. That was the one about the cloud.
Yep.
Yeah, if you guys have questions, let Ned and Fraser know. I mean, we're here to help you guys and answer anything.
Yeah, and I think that's great. And I love this community. I'm honestly like, I'm so honored to be part of this community with you guys here at Cyber and Security, because we have some of the most intelligent people. I mean, you got to realize we can't know, as individuals, we can't know everything, but we have some specialists watching today who can help answer these questions. And so I love going to the chat over here. And once again, I apologize if I murder your Twitch handle name, but I try. We
have a comment here. Yeah, you need to be careful as well. Double encapsulation can really slow things down. So just a comment that was shared.
Yeah, I like Tani Wa 3. She says cloud follows the OSI model, but there could be tunnels which make it funny. And I think she explained it better than I do, right? The tunnels, they make it funny. And then, going back to Net Plus a little bit, but remember, guys, the stuff in Net Plus, the stuff in Sec Plus, it's cybersecurity, right? It directly impacts and references the stuff here for the CISSP. All right, so let's go ahead and keep jumping in. We are talking encapsulation and decapsulation next, right? So Brandon, will you kick us off on that?
Yeah, so protocols based on the OSI model employ a mechanism called encapsulation. Encapsulation is the addition of a header and possibly a footer to the data received by each layer from the layer above before it handed off to the layer below. As the message encapsulates at each layer, the previous layer's header and payload combine to become the payload of the current layer. Encapsulation occurs as the data moves down the OSI model layers from application to physical. The inverse action occurs as data moves up to the OSI model layers from the physical to the application is known as decapsulation. The encapsulation decapsulation process is as follows.
Yeah, so let's go ahead and share that. I did see a question. Says, how important is the OSI model and other networking fundamentals to pen testing? The answer is very important. And I can kind of walk through this, but I've been honored to work with some people who are incredible hackers. And as you know, like I mentioned earlier, you can't know everything, but you can get really good at some things. And some of the guys I worked with have been masters at their trade. And if you can get really good at certain protocols and sockets, and you can understand the network and how it works, you can be that much better of a hacker because you'll know how it works. You can analyze it. You can understand weaknesses around it, and then you can exploit it. So yeah, I mean, a few of the gentlemen, like one of the guys I work with, DNS is his baby. That man can manipulate DNS like you would not believe. Why? Because he just understands the networking protocol down to its core better than anybody I've ever met. And honestly, that's what gave him the ability to be one of the best hackers I've ever met.
Wow. Yeah, because he just mastered it, right?
He mastered it, and he was teaching it to a bunch of security guys. He was teaching all of the intricacies of DNS to security folks. The hacker was. And it's like, it's unreal. Incredible red teamer and Go developer there. So, all right. Cool. Sorry. I was supposed to pull up a picture. I failed you. Sorry, Brandon. Coming right up. All right. So here we go. So let's talk data encapsulation. Now you're going to see something, and hopefully you can see this okay. but you'll at least be able to see my boss. So my box that I've put on the screen. So you can see your little computer up here. And this right here in that box, and it may be a little fuzzy and small for you guys, but basically it's by the application and presentation layer. And it says the user data is converted for transmission. So remember which direction we're going. We're going from up all the way down. And then what happens is it's going to pivot over and then work its way back up on the receiving end for the de-encapsulation. But this is the data encapsulation, or the data being sent. So let's walk through it. So you have your computer. You're working on the application layer and presentation layer. Well, the user data is converted for transmission. At the session layer, you have your upper layer data. Then once you get to transport, guess what it adds, Brandon?
And that adds to the TCP IP, right? Or TCP.
There's your TCP header.
Yeah.
As you move down to network, guess what you get?
Right. Then your IP, and then it keeps going through. I can see that. That's awesome.
Yep. So the cool part about this is, remember when we were talking about that authentication header and the encapsulation security protocol? That's what we're talking about. Because we're talking about if you get an ICV value off this IP header, and then the IP address changes, and they go to calculate that ICV on the other end, it's going to drop the packet because they don't match, because that header value's changed, right? But if you can find something that ignores that, and you're just encapsulating the TCP, well, then when you calculate the ICV on both ends, packet's good to go. Cool?
Makes sense, yeah.
Now to the data link layer, then you're going to get your MAC header, LLC header, and then on the physical, it's sent to the cable and then received on the other end. So, good stuff?
Good stuff. And then, yeah, then it works on the way, other way, right? As it decapsulates.
Yep. And then it's going to work back up. And that's actually the next picture I have for you. So I just want to give our, Brandon and me a pat on the back real quick, because I don't think the CISSP book does the OSI model do justice. They give you like a couple little black boxes with like the 7 layers in it, and like that's it. And then they explain it in text. I just don't think it does it justice. So hopefully we're delivering it in a better way for you folks. All right, here we go. Oh, they're having fun in the chat. I dig this, guys. You guys, seriously, reach out to me on LinkedIn. I was having a blast getting to, I love getting to know you guys, everybody who's joining here on the Cyber and Security live stream. We're here for you guys. So please reach out. Let's have conversations. Let's get to know each other. This is about building friendships for me. I don't know. You feel the same way, Brandon?
Same way. I mean, I love connecting with you guys after, all right? And you guys tell me your story, what you guys are working on. So it's awesome. And just to hear where you are in your cybersecurity journey.
Well, and I think almost more importantly, where you are in your cybersecurity journey. But I was talking to Brandon before. Where are you going in your cybersecurity journey? And have you written it down? Have
you set goals? And we were talking about that. Now, we know what we never talked about SMART goals.
Okay, so SMART goals are great because they help you accomplish the goals. But guys, if you're in cybersecurity, I challenge you to do one thing. Write down your goals right after this session. Write down your goals, and you become part of the 3% club, whoever does that. And that club of people are so much more likely to accomplish your goals. So if your goal is to become a CISO, I want that on a sticky note on your notepad. Set it on your desk, put it on your monitor. I want you to look at it every single day. It can be, I want to be a CISO. I want to be the lead IT security architect. Whatever it is, put that on your screen, because when you look at it every day, then you're going to start relating things, steps you can take to reach that goal. So please write that down, guys.
I'm watching the chat, and then someone's come up with smart, security-minded, action-required technology. That's awesome.
I love that. Hey, you know what? And we were talking about it. Like, I was like, well, how are you tracking your goals, Brandon? And you go, I got an app for that.
I use GoodNotes. So if you guys have it, I know Joe just got actually a physical notebook, but I actually use GoodNotes for mine. And if anyone doesn't know SMART, I'm just going to throw out specific, measurable, action-oriented, realistic in time. Those ones help you kind of identify and be very specific on your goals, because if you don't know where you're going to go and you don't have realistic goals, sometimes it's like, I just want to be a CISO, but why? When? What are you going to do? How are you going to measure that? What time frame are you going to do that? So then what happens is you can just like work towards it. You can reverse engineer, right? And go back through it. So, little help there to kind of keep you guys motivated through your career. And here's something for me. I don't want you guys to be stuck or stay in your current position if you have goals to be something else, right? I want to keep helping you guys to kind of move forward. Okay, how do you study? What books do you need? What do you need to do? Guys that are breaking into the career, I see a lot of questions about that. how to get in there, what you need to do, when are you going to get in there, right? When are you going to get that first job, right? Get you excited about it.
Yeah. And those are fun questions. And you know what's cool, Brandon? I'm seeing a lot of people getting their first cybersecurity jobs, which I honestly think we're kind of passing over this hump where it was, you got to have, to be entry level, you need 10 years experience. You need to have a lucky rabbit's foot and a unicorn that can jump over a rainbow, right? So I think we're almost there where you can get into cybersecurity without that checklist.
Okay, so if anyone remembers, probably about 5 years ago, maybe even 8 years ago, when you looked at the job descriptions, right, and you used to see all the technical requirements, you need to know SQL, Netflix, or I was gonna say Netflix, but Novell, Microsoft, this CISSP, like all that. And you're looking at going, I don't think there's anyone in this world that knows all of this and has 10 years experience to be able to do that. And that was like a junior level security analyst.
Yeah.
You remember those?
I do remember those. I'm not seeing them as much anymore. Are you?
No, I'm actually seeing, which is great, which HR and recruiters, they're actually getting better job descriptions relevant to the actual position. And then it's going through. So it's awesome to see that. Now, we do have a couple questions. I don't want to leave you guys out because I know we got about 15 minutes. And I'm just going to throw through these out. We kind of do rapid fire, right?
Yeah, I just pulled them up, so hit me.
Yeah, so is SOC analyst a good entry-level job in cybersecurity?
Hell yeah, and I recommend going that path these days. Go blue team, SOC analyst, get your experience with SIM, SOAR, endpoint, firewall, work on learning your automation skills. That's the path I would take. Even if you want to go pen testing later in your future, get a SOC job that's going to help pay for more education and maybe more certifications and start studying for your OSCP that way. I think that's the best way to go. That way you got an income, you're studying towards your future goals. You may even work at a company who has their own red team and you could just do an internal transfer. All right, hit me.
Next, would getting CCNA be a useful for pen testing and possibly getting a job as a pen tester?
No. Next one.
Done. Which will be good to get first, Pen Test Plus or CYSA?
Oh, hold on. I need to look up a question real quick. I would say Pen Test Plus. I'm a little biased.
Okay, and why is that?
Because my old boss wrote the study guide book for it. Let me make sure I'm...
Now, isn't it CYSA? Correct me if I'm wrong. Isn't it for Linux?
Here we go. CompTIA Pen Test Plus. And so I'm going to send this real quick. No. Oh, here we go. So, guys, if you're looking for, that's on thriftbooks.com, CompTIA Pen Test Plus certification all-in-one exam guide, a guy named Raymond Nudding. This is the guy who took a chance on me when I was a bank manager and wanted to be a pen tester. So if you're looking to go, I would take your Pen Test Plus. It is a practical exam. It's not as hard as the OSCP, but it's a fantastic exam. And I saw the blood, sweat, and tears this man put into this book. Buy that book, support a quality human being, and go get your Pen Test Plus so you could show people, hey, I know what it takes to do a pen test. Because when you talk about penetration testing or red teaming, that's what they want to know. Can you properly perform a pen test or not? And if you have that Pen Test Plus, for me as a hiring manager, if I'm hiring you to do penetration tests, it's exactly what I want to see. All right, next, Brandon.
So yeah, we got a comment here from my IT sec cyclist.
Okay.
DNS attack is the modern day kryptonite from modern cyber warriors.
Why is that, Brandon?
Well, it's just so complicated, right? Just to break it down.
Well, and you want to know what happens with it?
What happens? Well,
guess what's happening with the internet? It's all being encrypted. So we have DOH. D-O-H. It's DNS over HTTPS.
Okay.
So what the internet's doing, Google is kind of the front runners on this, is now they're encrypting all DNS traffic. Guess what that means to our brand new SOC analysts?
Oh, I mean, it's impossible, right?
If they don't have a gigamon that's decrypting the traffic, they have about this much visibility over all the DNS traffic leaving their network. And guess what port you have to leave open on your firewall?
For DNS?
Port 53.
Yeah.
Which means if somebody can get in encrypt their DNS traffic. It can walk right out your firewall. You have no visibility into it, and you'll never know that something left your network just because it went over DNS.
Wow.
100%. Kryptonite for modern day cyber warriors. It's a tough problem to have, and there's a bunch of ways you can manipulate it. And there are solutions. Some solutions work, some don't. And they're all getting better, right? Because as we know, SolarWinds used DNS tunneling to get outside of the network. I've done a number of talks on those for all of the different ISACs. They had me over in Europe doing talks on that for the ISACs, EMEA here in the US, but talking about the methods that they used over DNS to exfil data, specifically about the internal domains of the networks for SolarWinds.
So next question is, which book do you recommend for the OSI model?
Which book do I recommend? I recommend picking the certification you're going for and learning that. If you're trying to learn the OSI model, I recommend Google.
Okay.
I don't think you need a book to learn the OSI model. Once again, it's an abstract. We're teaching it to you here. It's in the Sec Plus book. It's in the Net Plus book. It's in the CISSP book. It's going to continue to be ingrained on you, but use Google, right? Use Google, dig into it. And then let's talk about the OSI model a little bit more.
Yeah, let's go. And then last comment is not a unicorn, but a narwhal.
Yes. In order to get into cybersecurity, you're right. You're right. It's not a unicorn. It's a narwhal. Magical horn jumping over a rainbow. Spot. All right. So guys, let's talk about this. So we talked about the encapsulation, and this is your sending computer, right? So sending computer, it's going to work its way down through application, presentation, session, transport, network, data link, and physical. Remember, those different frames are added. And at data link, guess what's added to the tail end of that?
It looks like frame header, right?
Frame trailer.
Oh, okay.
Trails.
Oh, both. Isn't it both?
Frame header and frame trailer as well. Correct. And then once it hits physical, guess what? It's hitting your coax cable. And I just ripped all the coax out of my house, so I'm fiber everywhere now, which is kind of cool. And then over to physical. And then guess what? It's going to de-encapsulate those different frame trailers, frame headers, packet headers, segment headers, and then you get to your data. And that's going to be your session presentation application. And then the computer receives it and displays it to the end user.
Awesome. Yeah, it makes sense. Does anyone have any questions about that? It's pretty straightforward.
Yeah, but hopefully, I mean, I'm telling you guys, just that explanation alone, I didn't get that until I was actually working as a threat hunter and I had to dig into the different protocols and network protocols. I was never explained to it that way. I saw those 7 layers. And I was told that please don't throw away your pepperoni pizza, sausage pizza. Well, I don't use the pizza one. Okay. But I like pepperoni better. I'm just saying. But yeah, so guys, once again, it's important to know those things. And let's talk one more time. I got one more picture and then we're finishing up today's session, guys. Let me pull that up for you. Is it this one? Oh, I like this one a lot. So I'm going to use this one. I had a bunch. All right. So you can see here, guys, you have your software upper layers. I think this is a great description of this. You can see your software upper layers. And it starts with application, which allows access to the network resources. Then presentation is going to translate, encrypt, and compress. Then you're going to establish, manage, and terminate sessions with your sockets, APIs, and WinSock. I think that's a great explanation of kind of the software layers. Then when we get to transport, the heart of your OSI model, right, is the transport. And this is to provide reliable process to process message delivery and error delivery using
transport.
What happens to the transport layer? If it's the heart of the OSI model, what happens?
Well, I mean, that's where your TCP IP and UDP, right?
Boom. Heart of it, right here. UDP, I mean, once again, do you know what protocol UDP or Netflix uses, Brandon? TCP or UDP?
I'd say UDP, isn't it?
You would think so. You would think so for speed of delivery. It's actually TCP.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, because they've just figured out a way to do it quickly and efficiently so they're not dropping content, right? But really cool. Next up is network, and this is where you get into your hardware layers. Network is you're going to be moving packets, right? So think routers here. Next data link, you're going to organize the bits into frames and provide hop-to-hop delivery, and then you have your physical. So, and those are your hardware and lower layers of the OSI model. How do we do, Brandon?
Good. That's really good.
Yeah. So guys, next week we dig even deeper into these, and we're really touching on certain points. It's important to get this in our heads for this exam and really dig into the different protocols. Once again, I appreciate and absolutely love this community. I'm so glad to be part of it with you guys. I mean, everybody from Vivek and Sean Delane, we've known you for 4 months now, all the way over to BSEC, Sec IT guy, Frazier. Once again, quick shout out. If you guys haven't connected with Frazier, will you throw your LinkedIn information and our LinkedIn information here in the chat? Mm-hmm. Connect with Frazier. He does this out of the kindness of his heart. He comes and moderates for us. And just an all-around fantastic guy with a sense of humor. I absolutely love it. So Frazier, thank you for all you do for cyber insecurity. Everybody watching, thank you for all you're doing for this community, for participating, for making friends, for making this a community worth coming to. We appreciate you.
It's awesome. I mean, the amount of networking that's going on in the chat and that what's happening is phenomenal, right? Everything that we're learning from you guys and seeing you guys connect here and in Discord, and make sure, Frazier, you put that Discord channel in there as well. I mean, all the stuff you guys are collaborating. This is where you build your career, because openings are coming and going. People are working for different organizations. Keep a tight network, because as you start to grow, people will start looking for jobs. People will have jobs offering. People will be looking for experts in your field. It's an amazing community.
Well, I got to have a conversation today about getting somebody their first 6-figure job. Do you know how cool that is? Do you know how cool that is to help somebody cross that threshold? So I'm excited. I think the networking here is going to happen. I think a lot of people, even just me, nothing, I get nothing from helping somebody do that. But guys, I love doing that. And so do the other people here in this channel. So continue to reach out. Even if you're more on the introverted, shy side, reach out and just say, hey, thanks. What are you up to? What are your goals? Ask some questions. Let's have some dialogue. We love it. That's why we're here, guys. Thanks for joining us on Cutting Into Cybersecurity.
So one thing I'm going to say to you guys, if you guys are going to connect with anyone on the social networks, put a comment, add a comment in. Don't just kind of go into the person that you're connecting with, but say, hey, I saw that you're a cybersecurity guy. For us guys, say, hey, I saw you in Cyber Incision.
This is my Twitch handle. I want to know. I want to know who you are IRL, right? Based on your Twitch handle.
Yeah. So send that to us, because we get a lot of requests, and then going back and saying, okay, how do we know you? What's going on? A lot of great people are coming from this community and connecting with us, but vice versa. So you know where you're collaborating, where where your community is. So make sure you just add a message. Hey, I met you in the cyber insecurity. I met you on the stream. I met you on cyber insecurity, network or community. So just do that, and then it's going to build up a great community. What are you laughing at, Joe?
Oh, sorry. I'm laughing at the BSEC 676. He goes, hey, will you help me get my first 7-figure job? I'll give you 10%. 10% for the rest of your life? You might have yourself a deal. If I find something, we'll work that one out.
That's when you own your own company. When you look at 7 figures, that's your own company, right? And Joel, let me ask you this. Do you know anyone that's an employee that makes 7 figures?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
See, as far as I know, when the cybersecurity field, guys that are going to 7 figures are normally, they have their own company. They're consulting.
Most of the ones that I know are executives at companies. They're still employees.
Oh yeah. I mean, if you're looking at C-level, right? But I mean, guys that are in the actual, sweat equity, right? The guys I know are pen testers, things along that line. Guys are making 6 figures and above on their own, $250,000, $500,000 a year. Generally, those guys now have built their own business and kind of started to do that.
Yeah. But the $500,000 milestone, I mean, I've seen directors of data science do it. I've seen, I've seen directors of IT. I don't know about $500,000, but yeah. Anyways, that's a conversation for another day, Brandon. We are up on our time, guys. We love you. We thank you for being here on Cyber Insecurity. Invite your friends, guys. This is the best community ever. Brandon, close us out.
Yeah, we got Philip Wiley that's going to be on next, talking about pen testing. All right, so make sure you stick around. If you need a bio break, grab some snacks, grab a drink. And Philip's going to be up next talking about pen testing. So stay tuned. Keep logged into the Cyber and Security Twitch channel, and you guys are going to learn so much more. Thanks, guys.
See ya.